In this demo, we will learn how we can ensure that the correct response types are generated in the spec for a specific resource. We're looking at the getCity method in our cities controller. This will return one city. If we look at the code, we see that it can potentially return a 404 not found and a 200 OK. All methods can also return a 400 bad request if the request is malformed. The API controller attribute takes care of that. And there's more, of course. All requests can also potentially return a 500 internal server error and so on. But for the demo, we're going to stick to these. We can be explicit about the status codes that can be returned with the producer's response type attribute. To use this, we pass through the response type. In other words, the status code we know can be the result of executing this action. For the demo, that's a 200 OK, a 404 not found, and a 400 bad request. Let's give that a try. And there we go. This time, we see that we get the 3 potential response status codes in our generated documentation. So far, so good. But there's more. We seem to get a description of each potential response type. Success, bad request, not found. These are the defaults associated with these status codes. And these too can be overridden. Back to our code. So how do we override them? Well, with XML comments. There's already a few filled out here from the previous demo, but we can add more. To change the default description associated with a status code, we can use the response code tag. For example, with this tag, we state that for response code 200, the description should be returns the requested city. By the way, you may have noticed that since we enabled XML comments, all of a sudden a lot of warnings are showing up. Visual Studio will automatically generate warnings when XML comments are missing. I'm not going to input all these comments in the demo, but in a real-life situation, it is a good idea to make sure that your code is documented well, for example, by adding these XML comments. Anyway, let's give this a try. Let's navigate back to the action to get a single city. And here we go. We see that for status code 200, the description has now been changed. With that, our documentation is already much improved over the default. There's one thing we still have to re-enable and fix: authentication. Let's look at that next.